Coronation Street can't ramp up the tension any further. 3 separate spoiler clips have landed within days of each other, and when you piece them together, the picture they paint is nothing short of devastating. 2 long-running characters appear to be facing their final chapter on the cobbles, and the clues are so pointed that fans are convinced the soap has all but confirmed it without saying a single word outright. If you've been holding out hope that your favorites might dodge the chopping block this time, you might want to sit down because this one's going to sting. So what exactly is going on? Over the past week, a trio of preview clips, the kind ITV drops on IDVX and YouTube just ahead of broadcast to build buzz, have sent the Corrie fan community into overdrive. Individually, each clip could be read as just another twist in an already twisty year. But watched back to back, viewers and soap columnists alike have started connecting the dots, and the working theory going around fan forums, TikTok, and the comment sections of every major soap outlet is that Coronation Street is quietly laying the groundwork to write out 2 major characters before the year is done. And once you understand the storylines feeding into this, it's genuinely hard to see how either of them walks away unscathed. For anyone who hasn't been glued to the cobbles every single night, let's rewind and set the scene, because the background here matters enormously. The first storyline that's under the microscope is the long, harrowing arc between Todd Grimshaw and his fiancée Theo Silverton. If you've watched Corrie at all over the past year and a bit, you'll know this hasn't been an easy watch. Theo, played by James Cartwright, arrived on the street and slowly revealed himself to be controlling, manipulative, and at times outright violent behind closed doors, isolating Todd from the people who love him. It's been one of the show's most unflinching examinations of domestic abuse in a same-sex relationship, and it escalated dramatically during the Emmondale crossover episode, Corriedale, when Theo made the chilling decision to leave Todd's ex-partner Billy Mayhew to die in a multi-vehicle crash rather than risk him exposing the truth. Billy, played by Daniel Brocklebank, had begun to realize something wasn't right about Theo's behavior toward Todd, and when the crash trapped Billy inside the vehicle, Theo had the chance to save him but instead left him to die. That single act of cruelty has haunted the storyline ever since, with Theo wrestling with guilt while still refusing to let go of Todd. And here's where it gets serious for viewers hunting for confirmation of an exit. It has now been confirmed, through reporting picked up from The Sun on Sunday, that Theo Silverton's time in Weatherfield is coming to an end. Coronation Street is lining up a dramatic exit for Theo Silverton as his dark storyline with Todd Grimshaw comes to a close later this year, with the specifics of his final storyline being kept firmly under wraps. A show spokesperson gave a statement that all but confirms this was the plan from day one. A representative told press that James Cartwright joined the show on a finite contract and was fully aware of his character's story arc and how long he would remain, adding that he still had scenes to film in the Todd and Theo storyline and would remain on screen until later this year. That's about as close to an official confirmation as soap fans ever get, and it's exactly the kind of detail that spoiler clip compilations have been building around. Adding fuel to the fire is the fact that Theo was named earlier this year as one of 5 residents in the frame for a shock death storyline. Theo was named as one of 5 characters who could be killed off in a big episode centered on Carla Connor and Lisa Swain's wedding, alongside Carl Webster, Jodie Ramsey, Maggie Driscoll, and Megan Walsh. The mystery kicked off with a flash-forward sequence showing Betsy Swain stumbling across a body, and while the culprit and victim were kept deliberately vague, the framing meant every one of those 5 names became suspects in fans' eyes for months. With Theo's exit now essentially confirmed, plenty of viewers believe his storyline is heading toward exactly that kind of dramatic, possibly fatal, conclusion, poetic justice for a character who has caused so much pain. Now, on to the second character caught up in this wave of spoiler speculation, and this is where things get even murkier: Megan Walsh. If Theo's storyline has been about coercive control, Megan's has been about grooming, specifically her manipulation of teenager, Will Driscoll. It's a plot that's escalated fast, with Megan arrested on suspicion of grooming after Will's family began to piece together what had been happening. Megan Walsh, along with Theo Silverton, Jodie Ramsey, Carl Webster, and Maggie Driscoll, remains one of the characters confirmed to be in the frame for the show's big death mystery, with Maggie in particular emerging as someone with a history and temperament to make an enemy. That's a crucial detail because Maggie Driscoll, played by Polly McLynn, has a flashback last year revealed she once killed her own husband, and she's shown time and again just how far she'll go to protect her family, including grandson Will. Put those two things together, a woman capable of murder and a groomer targeting her grandson, and you don't need to be a soap detective to see where fans think this is heading. This is precisely the kind of connective tissue the recent spoiler clips have been hinting at. One clip reportedly shows Meghan facing court over the fallout from her actions with Will. Another shows tension boiling over between Meghan and members of the Driscoll family, with Maggie in particular making no secret of her fury. And a third has focused on the fractured, guilt-ridden state of the Todd and Theo relationship, with Theo using even his own birthday as an excuse to humiliate and control his fiancée. Individually, none of these clips scream, someone is about to die. But together, they've convinced a large section of the fanbase that the show is steering two separate, long-simmering storylines toward the same dramatic endpoint, possibly even the same climactic episode. It's worth being upfront that Coronation Street's production team has, unsurprisingly, been extremely tight-lipped about the specifics. Executive producer Ian McLeod has previously spoken about the philosophy behind these big shock exits without giving away who's involved, describing the decision-making process as something that genuinely divides the writer's room. McLeod has said that the soap gods demand a sacrifice when you have an event of this kind, that sometimes the biggest and best exits are for characters audiences care about the most, and that the decision can be a big responsibility that leads to genuinely fiery arguments among the production team. That kind of language only pours more fuel on the fire for fans trying to read between the lines of every trailer and preview clip that gets released. So, what has the reaction been like? Predictably, it's been intense. Soap fan accounts on social media have been dissecting frame-by-frame stills from the preview clips, cross-referencing them against filming spoiler photos and cast schedules to try and work out who's actually on set and who might be quietly wrapping up their final scenes. Discussion threads have been split into camps. Some viewers are adamant that Theo's comeuppance is overdue and are almost rooting for a dramatic downfall, given how uncomfortable his storyline with Todd has been to watch. Others are more anxious about what happens to Todd himself in the aftermath, worried that after everything he's endured, the show might put him through even more trauma before any resolution arrives. On the Meghan and Maggie side, there's a similar split. Plenty of fans want to see Meghan face real consequences for what she did to Will, while others are nervous that Maggie's dark past means she could end up behind bars rather than the villain of the piece actually being punished. Entertainment outlets covering the soap have picked up on this same tension, framing the story as one of the most talked-about developments of the year precisely because it isn't clear-cut who deserves sympathy and who deserves to go. There's also been plenty of chatter about the actors themselves. James Cartwright's departure, once confirmed, sparked a wave of commentary about how difficult and important the Todd and Theo storyline has been, with many praising the show for tackling male victim domestic abuse so directly, even as they're relieved to see an end in sight for Todd's suffering. Meanwhile, Pauline McLynn's performance as Maggie has continued to draw attention for just how unsettling she's made the character, blending dark humor with real menace in a way that's kept viewers guessing about her true intentions episode after episode. So, what could all this mean for the future of the show? If both Theo and Meghan are indeed heading for the exit, whether that's death, arrest, or simply a permanent departure from Weatherfield, it would close out two of the most emotionally charged storylines Corrie has run in recent memory. For Todd, it could finally offer a path toward healing and safety after enduring months of psychological and physical abuse, though soaps rarely let their characters off easily, and there's every chance the fallout from Theo's ending will haunt Todd for a long while yet. For the Driscoll family, Meghan's downfall would likely reshape their dynamic completely, forcing Will to confront the trauma of what happened to him while the wider family reckons with Maggie's own capacity for violence bubbling just beneath the surface. There's also the small matter of the unresolved flash-forward death mystery hanging over all of this. With 5 characters still technically in the frame, Theo, Megan, Carl, Jody, and Maggie, fans are speculating that these newly spotlighted spoiler clips might be steering 2 of that group toward becoming either the victim or the culprit in that central mystery, tying multiple long-running threads together in one almighty payoff. Whether the show ultimately delivers a double exit in a single explosive episode or spreads these departures out to maximize the drama remains to be seen. But the momentum building across these 3 clips suggests Coronation Street bosses know exactly what they're doing in terms of stoking anticipation. Of course, it's worth remembering that soap spoilers have a habit of misdirecting even the most eagle-eyed fans. Coronation Street has a long history of dropping deliberately ambiguous clues specifically designed to keep viewers guessing right up until the episode airs, and it's entirely possible one or both of these anticipated exits could take a very different shape to what everyone currently expects. Still, with an actual exit confirmation on record for one of these 2 characters, and such a clear pattern of escalating drama surrounding the other, it's hard to shake the feeling that Weatherfield is about to say goodbye to 2 familiar faces in the very near future. So, to sum it all up, 3 spoiler clips, 2 storylines under intense scrutiny, and a fanbase convinced that Coronation Street is quietly confirming the end for both Theo Silverton and Megan Walsh. Theo's departure has effectively been confirmed through industry reporting, tied to the dark conclusion of his abusive relationship with Todd Grimshaw, while Megan's grooming storyline with Will Driscoll appears to be building toward its own explosive reckoning, with Maggie Driscoll looming as a genuine threat. Whether these 2 threads collide in one dramatic episode or play out separately, it's shaping up to be one of the most significant stretches of storytelling Coronation Street has delivered in years. That's everything we know so far about this developing story, but as always with Corrie, things can shift fast, so we'll be keeping a close eye on any further clips or official confirmations as they come in. Let us know in the comments who you think is really getting written out, and whether you think Theo and Megan deserve whatever's coming their way. If you enjoyed this breakdown, give the video a like, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next update the moment new spoilers drop.